Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode on the show, Control All the Control. This guest is David, an elections administrator and former director of elections for the Minnesota Secretary of State, where he served from 2019 to 2024 during one of the most closely scrutinized and politically charged periods in recent American history. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Looking forward to our conversation.
All right, David. Your memoir brings together two different words: election, administration, and your personal mental health journey. What connects those two parts of your life for you?
Well, when I first started to write the memoir, it was strictly going to be about my career as an election administrator. I thought that was out. But as I was writing it my mental health issues played a major role throughout my career in the fact that, number one, it was hard to do my job being suffering from severe depression. But number two, it was really I'm almost more proud of my career because of the fact that I was struggling so much, and I was still able to accomplish as much as I did in a very important field.
Okay, so you served as director of elections in Minnesota during a highly intense political period. What did that experience teach you about how elections actually function behind the headlines?
Well, I spent about 25 years as an election administrator. I finished as the director of elections for the state, but I also worked for two of the largest counties in Minnesota, and then a suburb of Minneapolis as a city clerk. So I worked as a city, county, and state election official. And during my entire 25-year career, um, I worked with other election officials in the state to make our laws and our election processes some of the best in the world. Um, and so, especially after the 2020 election, when there's so much misinformation being spread by people that really don't know how elections are run. It was really discouraging. As a state election director, I was spending so much time trying to get accurate information out to people so people didn't lose faith in our elections. And I'm not sure I won that battle because even today there's misinformation that people are believing about our election is not true. Our elections are very fair and secure. And I'm not just I worked with election directors from other states, and I fully have faith in America's election system.
All right, thank you so much. So, many people have strong opinions about election security. From your perspective, what are the most misunderstood aspects of how elections are run in the US?
That's a great question. I think the most effective misinformation has been about our voting equipment. Our voting equipment that is used in every state. In Minnesota, we use optical scan voting equipment, which means the voters vote on a paper ballot to tallies it. I think the uh, people's lack of faith in the technology has just stunned me because in Minnesota, we actually had two statewide recounts during my career. In 2008, there was a U.S. Senate race that was so close between Al Franken and Nora Coleman. Came down to like 300 votes out of the 3 million cast. And in Minnesota, when we do recounts, we do hand recounts. So every ballot gets looked at. And what we found in that recount, 2008 recount, was our machines were 99.9% accurate. It was the people hand counting afterwards that made mistakes. It's really easy when you're hand counting ballots to stick a ballot in the wrong pile or to miss a ballot. Um, our voting equipment is incredibly accurate, and that people should not have any um, concerns about the voting equipment because it goes through certification problems. We test it before every election. Um, it's not connected to the internet, so it can't be hacked. So people should have faith that when they cast a ballot, it's going to be counted correctly. And I think people don't always believe that.
Okay, so your book is also very personal and emotionally honest. What made you decide to share such vulnerable parts of your life publicly?
Well, once I started writing the book and I started sharing myself, I thought the only way that this is going to be a good book is if I really tell the truth and how I throughout my life and different things in my life. So authenticity really became the goal of the book, and I'm very proud of what I've shared. I mean, proud in the fact that I shared it in an honest way. I'm not always proud of everything that I did that I shared in the book throughout my life, but I'm proud that I was able to be that honest. That kind of became the whole goal behind the project.
Okay, so you have lived with depression for much of your life. What have been some of the most important ways you have learned to navigate it over time?
So one of the chapters of my book is about all the cats I've lived with throughout my life. I've had 7 different cats throughout my life. I currently have 3. But my cats really, really have helped me with my depression. It gets the focus off of me and on just another being. And just their ability to give me comfort and amuse me every day. I think without my cats, I wouldn't have made it all these years, honestly. I think they've been the most effective thing for me on depression because it's again, like I said, it just gets the focus out of my head and onto something else. And I think that's really important when you're dealing with depression.
Are you there?
I can't hear you. Oh, I just heard a little bit from you.
So you mentioned music, friends, and cats as grounding forces in your life. How have those helped you stay steady through difficult periods?
Can you repeat that? I didn't catch the first part.
Are you there, David?
Can you repeat the question, please?
You mentioned music, friends, and cats as grounding forces in your life. How have those helped you stay steady during difficult periods?
Well, my depression really, I think, began when I was in junior high. It started very early on in my life. And at that point, music meant the world to me. I was in a band, I played trumpet and piano. But I just fell in love with music when I was really young. And some of the songs that I fell in love with, I mean, when I feel sad and depressed and just completely despondent, I'll turn to music because it's the songs I'm familiar with that I love have the ability to uplift my spirits. And it's uncanny the way they can do that. I mean, if I see myself descending into depression, I'll turn on music because I know that will help me. And so music has always been a really large part of my life.
Okay, so what do you think people misunderstand most about living with long mental health challenges?
I think the biggest misunderstanding is that the fact that you can take a pill and the depression will go away. A lot of people are helped by antidepressants. For me, it's never worked. I've been prescribed multiple different antidepressants, and none of them have had any impact on my depression. So I think the misunderstanding is everybody's depression is different. Some people, antidepressants work really well and they're able to function better after being prescribed something. Other people, and I'm currently in talk therapy, but a lot of people go in to see a therapist to talk about some of the things they're struggling with. That's helped me some, but it's never really pulled me out of my major depression. So again, I think uh, to, to summarize what I'm trying to get at here, I think everybody's depression is slightly different, and you can't just treat it all of us in the same box. You have to look at each individual and what's driving what are the driving forces between behind what is causing that person to be depressed. For me, again, it's a lot of variable things. I cover a lot of it in my memoir, but it's things like the fact that I've always been kind of a loner. I've never really made solid connections with other people. Um, or it's been very hard for me to make connections with other people. The standing of our world, I mean, global warming just terrifies me. Our political state depresses me. So for me, it's a lot of different things that have triggered my depression. And it's not a matter of taking a pill or going to my therapist that's going to help me deal with it. It's things like my cats, my music, my love of baseball, um, just I'm a different person than other people, and I think that's the thing we have to keep in mind for everyone struggling with mental health.
Okay, thank you so much. So, what do you hope readers take away about resilience from your story?
I'm sorry I didn't understand that.
What do you hope readers take away about resilience from your story?
Resilience is a great word. I think I'm very proud. There have been very dark times in my life when I didn't think I'd be able to go on another minute. But I've always thought to myself, I want to see the rest of my story, and that's what drives my resilience. Is I'm a very curious person. I'm a person that loves to learn, um, and so the fact that my depression is so severe sometimes that it prevents me from living my life the way I want to live it is frustrating, but it also pushes me forward that I really want to be able to say, I can do this next step, I can take a next step. And so resilience has been a common theme of my life.
All right, so after working inside the election system for years, what gives you the most confidence of concern about the future of democracy?
I think the thing that gives me the most confidence is the people that run elections in our country are just like mentioned before. I met most of the election directors from all 50 states, and the quality of the people, the dedication of the people, the just the talent of the people running our elections just gives me tremendous confidence in our system. The thing that gives me the most concern is um, people are willing to believe things that are simply not true because of their political party. Um, both parties have attacked the integrity of our elections. Make no mistake about it, there are people on both sides of the aisle that want to spread the message that don't believe the election because if I lose this election, it's fake, it's phony, it's fixed, um, which concerns me, and it really I wish people would do more thinking about who to believe when in any area. This goes for science too. The anti-vaxxers, people that don't believe in vaccines, are buying things from people that aren't experts. If people would just stick to listening to or not but would listen to people that actually know what they're talking about, I think that is what is giving me pause about our elections or gives me the greatest concern is people aren't doing that. People are going to sources that just are reinforcing misinformation that they want to believe that our elections aren't fair. I just wish people would do a lot more critical thinking.
All right, thank you so much. So here is my final question for you. What is that one question you wish I would have asked you that I did not ask you?
Wow, that I'm gonna have to think about that for a little bit. You've asked really good questions. I think the question that uh, let me think about that. The question is more about I think the writing process of my memoir is something I want to talk about a little bit because it took me about 11 years to complete the memoir and get it published. I've always wanted to be a writer. I've always written since I was very young. So writing a book was really important to me. But as I said, when I started writing the book, it was going to be about my career, and then I realized that wasn't probably going to be enough to write about. So I incorporated different things: my cats, my depression. I have a relationship that I went through that I write about. I write about my childhood, and I kind of write about the state of our affairs, elections wise, in the final chapter. But when I first started writing it, it was these different sections. And the editor that I was working with told me later on she didn't think it was going to work because a memoir typically is about one topic that you write about. And I was the topic that kind of tied everything together was my struggle with depression. It shows up in every section of the book because it's been such a lifelong battle. But it was really interesting writing through it. I mean, the writing process when I'm really in the state of mind that to write something, it's the biggest antidepressant that I know of because it's like you're connected to something larger. There's a flow to your words that you're not even thinking about. Um, I like to describe it as the perfect connection between thoughts and feelings, where you're not thinking and you're not feeling, but you're doing both at the same time. If that makes any sense. And that's when the words flow out. That's the best parts of my memoir are when that happens. It doesn't always happen when I write, but that flow is just the most wonderful feeling in the world, um, experience that I've ever had in life. Um, and at times in the memoir, I hit that. The best times in the memoir, I hit that. But I continue to strive to get into that state of mind when I'm writing. Um, and if any of your listeners are writers, I think they know exactly what I'm talking about because as you write, the more you can get out of the way and just let the words flow, that's the greatest feeling in the world.
All right, thank you so much for coming to my show, David. I really appreciate you for taking out your time to share your perspective and your insight with me and my audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
All right, you have a wonderful